Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramanan and with me is Shruti Mishra and Ritu Singh. These are the top headlines from the startup world. Ankit Nagori-led multi-brand cloud kitchen operator Cure Foods has raised 160 crore rupees in a pre-IPO placement from Three State Ventures, the investment arm of Flipkart co-founder Binny Bansal, allotting 1.28 crore shares at 124 rupees each. The firm filed for an IPO in June with plans for an 800 crore rupee fresh issue and 4.08 crore of OFS.
Millbasket co-founder Anand Goel's Handpicked has raised $15 million in a Series A round led by Bertelsmann India Investments with participation from Titan Capital Winners Fund and existing backers. The fresh funds will be used to strengthen its team, expand serviceability in existing cities and invest in supply chain technology.
Fintech unicorn BharatPe has slashed its net losses by 82% to 88.2 crores in FY25 compared to 490 crore rupees in the last fiscal. BharatPe reported its revenues for FY25 as 1,167 crore rupees, a 37% jump since the last financial year as per TOEFL.
EdTech unicorn PhysicsWallah plans to invest 460 crore rupees to expand offline and hybrid learning centers across India targeting NEET and JEE coaching. The move comes ahead of its 3,820 crore rupee IPO announcement this month.
US President Donald Trump signs an executive order outlining a deal to transfer TikTok's US business to American ownership. Vice President Vance says the business will be valued at $14 billion. Oracle, Silver Lake and Rupert Murdoch will be key investors. No representatives from Chinese parent ByteDance were present at the signing, and the company hasn't acknowledged any transaction. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you from the startup world. On What's Brewing today, Bengaluru-based EV maker Simple Energy has just raised $10 million in a bridge round led by existing investors to supercharge its retail expansion and R&D. The company, which already runs 53 outlets across India, plans to scale up to 150 stores and 200 service centers by the end of 2025. Known for pioneering India's longest-range electric two-wheeler and rare earth-free motors, Simple Energy is also eyeing a $350 million IPO in FY27. Joining us now to discuss the fundraise and the road ahead is Suhas Rajkumar, the founder and CEO of Simple Energy. Suhas, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Let's start with the fundraise, right? What prompted Simple Energy to raise this $10 million in this bridge round, and how will the funds be deployed?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So we raised this bridge round citing the current issues that we have towards global supply chain. So we thought, why not raise a bridge round for ourselves to secure our supply chains in the next couple of months, because we are on a hyper-growth phase. As you mentioned, we are at 53 stores today. We want to be about 150 stores by March. And by December, we should be about 100 stores. So to fuel this demand that we have currently ongoing, we would want to secure our supply chain stronger. So we thought we should go into the fundraise, and plus to support our marketing and network development activities, we would want to use these funds aggressively. So this was the round planned by our board, and we concluded that recently.
All right. And nearly 80% of this capital is earmarked for retail expansion, right? So how soon can we expect the new 150 stores and 200 service centers to be operational? What's the plan on this front?
So as of today, we have about 85 stores signed up, out of which 53 are live. So we shouldn't have a challenge to have 100 stores by December. 150 we should complete by Feb end, because we have raised this fresh round of funding for supporting those operations and expanding our service and sales team as well. So I think we should be there comfortably. I think we want to do more than that, but as of today, conservatively, we are sticking to 150 stores by March, and that's an aggressive target that we took last January, and we have been successful in opening stores every quarter. And our growth from Q4 to Q1, Q4 of last year to Q1 of this year, we have grown 40x in terms of how our stores are opening. So I believe this will definitely happen for us this year. By end of December, you should see more than 100 stores up.
Sure. So by December, we'll see about 100 stores. You've also spoken about strengthening R&D, right? So what specific innovations or product upgrades are in the pipeline?
So the very recent one was rare earth-free magnets, which kind of helped us catapult towards the growth phase that we are and not become a bottleneck. I think that was a very important innovation at our end, which our team was prepared to do. With the same thing, we are looking at better battery technology. We are looking at more product lineups in the couple of months. I think in next 2 quarters, you'll see a lot of buzz from Simple Energies in terms of how we are placing ourselves in performance market. Also looking at a much more affordable segment where family scooters are operating at. So I think our agenda from past 6 years have been to deliver what customers really need at a price point that is affordable. We have done that with Simple One, and we continue to do with more products in pipeline. So by Q4, you should see a lot of noise from our end.
All right, by Q4, we'll see a lot of noise from your end, but what is the kind of demand that you saw for the bikes that you have, and what's the order book looking like?
Honestly, we are not able to supply as much as we have. Last quarter, we did about 28 crores. This quarter, our order book stands more than 90 crores, but depending on how we scale our supply chain, we should be able to do more than that. And we are going strong on our initial projection. We are looking at about 800 crores this year revenue, hoping to look at that. But again, that is subject to our supply chain problems solved. Given how April to June was, it was scary for the entire EV industry. But thankfully, we are out of that. It's still stabilizing, but for Simple, it is always going to be more demand than supply. And I think that's a good place to be. And we are very happy that our dealers who are operating our network are very happy with the response that we have got initially. And I think this will help us develop more projects, deliver more products for the Indian consumers.
Sure. And, speaking about that, your Hosur plant has an annual capacity of 1.5 lakh vehicles, right? So how much of that is currently being utilized, and do you plan to scale up manufacturing further?
1.5, I mean, that's still underutilized because we are still stabilizing. We are at a small footprint of 53 stores. It's still very far away from 100% utilization. But we see by Q1 next year, we should start looking at a new factory, because I believe we should kind of consume that capacity and expand from there, although it has a flexibility to go beyond that. But as I mentioned, we initially planned only for a certain capacity. But as we grow, our board will decide for a new factory coming in maybe later next year. So I think Q1 next year, we should start looking out for a bigger capacity, because Q4 onwards, we'll have a demand which we will not be able to kind of cater to from a certain place. So I think that strategy is very well aligned, and it has saved us a lot of time and money and efforts as well.
Right. And you've also signaled plans for an IPO in FY27, right? So what milestones do you need to hit before going public? Are the plans to do this on track?
Yeah, absolutely. At a footprint of 53 stores, we're doing an average, which is an industry average, best industry average of 50. So I think we've been really performing well on that front. Of course, there's room to grow a lot more than what we are doing. But having said that, with the current demand that we have and the current projections that we have, I believe at a growth rate of this rate, we should be able to hit in a good EBITDA positivity. If that comes in, and our product lineups that we are planning to launch in next 2 quarters, I think we should be setting our stage in a top 6, top 7 place in the next couple of quarters. And if we can hit all these 3 milestones, we should be able to have a successful IPO.
All right. So then if all of this goes to plan and you reach EBITDA positivity, then everything will go to plan. We will see that IPO in FY27. All right, Suhas, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. And we wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, moving on our Investor Eye segment today, seed stage investing platform Surge, backed by Peak 15, has unveiled its 11th cohort, 23 startups reimagining the future of AI, fintech, and consumer innovation. Now, this is Surge's most AI-heavy batch yet, with 12 startups building across enterprise, vertical, and consumer AI. Alongside them are 4 fintech disruptors, 4 new-age consumer brands, and 3 infrastructure and developer tool companies. Since its launch in 2019, Surge has backed over 170 startups, with its portfolio raising more than $3 billion in follow-on funding. The platform claims its top 10 have already crossed $1 billion in cumulative annual revenues. And to discuss what Surge 11 signals for the next wave of innovation, joining me now is Rajan Anandan, the Managing Director at Peak 15 and Surge. Rajan, welcome to Startup Street. Now, Surge, like I mentioned earlier, has now backed 170 plus startups across 18 sectors. And since 2019, with portfolio companies raising over $3 billion in follow-on funding. So first, tell us what makes Surge such a powerful launchpad for early stage founders.
Yeah, thank you, Shruti, for having me. We are super excited. We're here in Bombay launching our 11th cohort. Look, so Surge is, as you mentioned, Peak 15's seed stage investing platform. It's the approach that we take to seed stage investing. And it has four components. Okay, the first one is seed funding. Much like any other venture capital firm, we provide seed capital. The second thing is we have a dedicated full stack team. We have a dedicated investment team that works with every company from the time we invest all the way through either exit through IPO or they find a new home or the company moves on. We also have a full-time set of operators who actually work with our companies from everything from hiring to engineering to product to go-to-market and so on. So that's the second part. The third part of it is a company building immersion program, where we focus and help companies understand, our founders understand what it takes to build enduring companies. And lastly, we have a community. When we started, we didn't have a search community. Today, we have 170 companies, over 350 founders in this community who are very, very active. And we are beginning to see community flywheel effects. So these four, aspects put together is what Surge is today. And as you said, look, we're very fortunate. We're only 6 years since the launch of Surge, but already we are beginning to see in many categories, category leading companies emerge.
Absolutely. And cohort 11 has 23 startups and more than half are AI-led, from enterprise tools to consumer applications, even stealth mode AI companies. Rajan, what kind of white spaces are founders chasing and which ones stand out to you?
Within AI, we are beginning to see the rise of AI from India and the rise of AI from Southeast Asia, Australia, other markets. And they're across many application areas, right? So if you look at this current cohort, as you said, of the 23 companies, 12 are AI companies. Of the 12 AI companies, 6 of them are vertical AI companies. We think vertical AI is an infinite market, right? I think many companies are now beginning to leverage AI to transform traditional industries in manufacturing, industries in semiconductors, industries in financial services, industries in healthcare. So that's vertical AI is a theme that we think is a mega theme. Second is, look, the next generation of enterprise AI companies that are going into areas like marketing, like recruiting and so on. And then lastly, consumer AI, right? Actually, in this cohort, we have 3 consumer AI companies for the very first time. We think with over 800 million internet users in India, we will see AI impact every aspect of the consumer space in India. So across these 3 areas of vertical AI, enterprise AI, and consumer AI, we are beginning to see very, very interesting innovation.
All right, Rajan, let's talk beyond AI. You've got fintech innovators, consumer brands, and infrastructure and developer tools in the mix. So where do you see the next big opportunity emerging across these verticals?
Yeah, look, when it comes to fintech, we saw the first big wave of fintech play out, especially led by payments companies. But now we're seeing a new wave of fintech innovation. They cut across a couple of different segments. One is obviously wealth. We think there's an explosion of wealth tech sort of focused companies. The second very interesting area, in fact, we have 2 companies in this cohort from that area, which is building software infrastructure for Indian financial services, Indian banks, Indian insurance companies. And we think this is actually a gigantic market where we're going to see a large number of companies. And the third is companies that are building on what's next in the India stack, right? So we had Aadhaar, we had UPI for payments. Now we have frameworks like account aggregator. In fact, in this cohort, we have a company called Ignosis that is building on that is helping drive analytic solutions around personal finance applications, lending applications that are using account aggregators. So that's around fintech. I think in consumer, it continues to be broad-based. We are seeing innovation in consumer brands across every single segment. We have our very first athleisure brand in this cohort. We have our very first kids footwear brand. India is the largest consumer of milk, and we have our first milk-based beauty brand. So many aspects, we're seeing a lot of innovation, Shruti.
Okay, Rajan, you mentioned earlier a big part of Surge is founder immersion, whether it's learning from Sam Altman and Jensen Huang or peer sessions with successful alumni. How do these experiences shape the trajectory of founders at such an early stage?
Yeah, look, so firstly, Shruti, being an entrepreneur is an extremely difficult task, right? And what we try to provide through this company building immersion is to help founders deeply understand what it takes to actually build a company over 10, 20 years. And we also focus on very specific things, right? As a seed stage company, the most important near-term thing you have to do is you have to find product market fit. So we spend an enormous amount of time. What does getting to product market fit look like? How do you know when you have it? And then what does it take to get there, right? All the way through, how do you hire the right teams? And how do you make the most important decisions early in the company building journey that will actually set yourself up or set the company up to be successful long term. We call them design choices, right? Those are those early decisions that you make around your product, around your team, around your organization, around your revenue models. And those are the sorts of things we try to imbibe and try to bring to our founders through the absolute best speakers in the world, including some of the names that you just mentioned.
All right, one final question before I let you go, Rajan. You've often said the seed stage is where the magic happens or the magic begins. What qualities do you look for in founders today as AI and fintech reshape the startup landscape?
Look, at the end of the day, what we are looking for is extraordinary founders who are going to build extraordinary companies, right? So what does that really mean? I think, one, we're looking for founders who have deep insights, right? Unique insights that make us say, wow, we hadn't thought of that, or we didn't know that, right? About the problem that they're trying to solve. I think, second, founders or founding teams that combine the right set of technical and go-to-market aspects, right? So for instance, if you're building an AI company, a vertical AI company, on the one hand, you need domain expertise, but on the other hand, you need to have technical expertise, right? You can't build an AI company if you don't have deep technical expertise. So we're looking for the right combination of skills in a founding team. And I'd say the third thing, Shruti, we're looking for is just perseverance, grit, and the ability to just go the distance, right? One of the things we learned at Surge, Shruti, every successful company has 5 near-death moments. That's the average, 5 near-death moments. So to be able to build an enduring company, you have to keep building for 10 or 15 years and go through several near-death moments. And that requires extraordinary perseverance and extraordinary grit.
Well, on that very insightful note, it's time for me to wrap up our conversation. Many thanks, Rajan, for joining us on Startup Street, and wish you the very best for Cohort 11.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, Emergent, a San Francisco-based startup that wants to make software creation as simple as pressing a button, has raised $23 million in a Series A funding round. Don't miss this special conversation with Emergent co-founder and CEO Mukund Jha as he explains how to build an app by just entering a code. Stay tuned for that.
Now, Emergent, which is a San Francisco-based startup that wants to make software creation as simple as pressing a button, has raised $23 million in a Series A funding round led by Lightspeed with participation from Y Combinator, Prosus, and others. Now, Emergent calls itself the world's first vibe coding platform, where AI agents do the heavy lifting from writing code to scaling infrastructure, so anyone can launch a production-ready app instantly. And in just 90 days, it has already hit $15 million in annual recurring revenue. So to talk about this funding, the technology, and the move, joining us now is Emergent's co-founder and CEO, Mukund Jha. Mukund, thank you so much for your time here on Startup Street. But for viewers who are hearing about Emergent for the very first time, what exactly does your platform do, and what's this vibe coding all about?
Hi, I'm super excited to be here. So Emergent is a platform that allows anybody to build mobile app, web apps, websites by just simply prompting it in natural language, may it be English or Hindi or any language that you prefer. It's called vibe coding. This term was invented by a researcher called Andre Karpathy. And essentially that means that you just talk to the AI just like you would talk to a developer. And you never look at the code behind the scene, and you just build the app by just giving it feedback just like you would talk to a developer. And that's why it's called vibe coding, where you do just vibe checks on the software and build the software just like talking to a developer.
All right, you've just raised $23 million in Series A, taking your total funding to $30 million now. How do you plan on deploying this capital? Is it more R&D, scaling infrastructure, or expanding into newer markets?
Yeah, a lot of it is going to be just building out the team. We have one of the best AI teams in the world, and we're just going to grow that team. We're going to also invest in our research in building out the product, and obviously to spend on marketing to grow the product. We are already a global company. We are in 180 countries, so we're just going to expand our footprint in those countries.
Got that. So Emergent hit $15 million in annual recurring revenues and more than 1 million users in just 90 days. That is some fast revenue ramp up we're talking about. What's fueling this kind of adoption, and do you think this is going to be sustainable?
Yeah, I think we are one of the fastest growing AI startups in the world right now. And a lot of it is because the product is really good. You've tried it. When you come in, it feels magical. When you come in, you just type what you want to build, and it starts building. And we have built one of the world's most sophisticated coding agent and build up the entire infrastructure for the platform ground up. And that allows us to build way better apps than anybody else in the world today. And that's what's fueling our growth today, yeah.
So if this is the rate you're going to continue growing at, what will growth even look like in the next 2 to 3 years?
2, 3 years, I think, is very hard to predict. The AI is growing too fast, but we are seeing like extreme amount of demand in the market. A lot of people are trying us. A lot of people are sticking to us. I mean, our goal is to get to about 1 billion users, over the next couple of years on the platform.
And what would 1 billion users on the platform look like in terms of scale for the company? And what is really your end game here?
Yeah, our end game is that we want anybody with an idea and a phone to be able to build what they want. I think, the market is pretty huge. Software industry in general is roughly $2 trillion of spend today, right? And this is only developers building, right? When you imagine when non-developers, people who haven't coded before, sort of start building, I think this industry is going to expand a lot. And we want to be at the forefront, take a large share of this market.
Since the platform enables anyone to build and launch a full-fledged production-ready software app without writing a single line of code, if it really makes the job that easy, what do you think are the implications for the world of software and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, we think, we are in a new wave of creation. And the last phase, mobile, sort of when it came online, it sort of ushered a wave to, a bunch of content creators, YouTube, TikTok. We think similar things are going to happen with software, where everybody else is going to be empowered now to build software. And software so far has been like a movie production, right? Like where you need large budgets to build them. And we think now it's going to get more and more personalized, more and more customized. Nobody has sort of, gotten into software and said, okay, this is exactly what I want. So I think with AI and tools like us, we are now enabling this deep personalization, deep customization for software, for businesses and for individuals. And we'll see a lot of new sort of entrepreneurs come in, and the barrier to entry into entrepreneurship is going to become very, very low.
And finally, Mukund, as AI-powered software creation also heats up, how do you see competition evolving, not just from startups, but also from tech giants?
Yeah, it's a very, very big space. And we obviously have competition. We expect more and more competition to come. We're very focused on building for our consumers. We have one of the best platforms in the world right now. We have the best coding agent. We have the best infrastructure, and we have this fully vertically integrated approach, which gives us a big heads up and a leap in terms of competition today. And we'll continue to innovate, continue to build fast, and stay ahead of the game.
All right, Mukund, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time here today, and we wish you the best with this.